This is going to be what I assume is probably a fairly long video about a car that I'm getting ready to sell. Probably the favorite car that I've ever owned, honestly, from a daily driving perspective. This is a 2018 Subaru Outback 3.6R Touring with some very low / tasteful, I think, modifications to kind of make it a little bit more unique and enhance the daily driving experience, I suppose. I've owned this since December of 2020 when it had 67,000 miles on it. It is now at 143, and other than maintenance, I have put zero money into repairs on this vehicle. It's been incredibly reliable, but I drive an absolute ton for work, and I'm ready to change after 6 years almost. So I'm going to go through every single feature, everything that I've done. If you look at the pictures, there will be a very comprehensive maintenance log included. And I'll touch on the bigger maintenance items that I've gone through as well. Some logistics first. This car is located in Richmond, New Hampshire. That is about 10 minutes away from Keene, New Hampshire, 45 or so from Leominster, an hour and a half, depending on traffic, from Boston. And from an airport perspective, I have 4 airports within about 2 hours of the house: Manchester, New Hampshire, Albany, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, and of course Logan, if you want to suffer that disaster. And then if you're Eastern Seaboard, Amtrak will get you within about 40 minutes of my house. So if you are not local / able to drive here, flying, trains, not a problem. I'm more than willing to pick you up at any one of those places that I just mentioned. So again, owned it since 2020. It is wilderness green outside. It is Java brown leather inside. We'll start with a couple of the modifications. So right off the bat, you might notice this is a little bit higher than a normal Outback. This does have a 2-inch lift from a company called Ready Lift. It's one of the medium end, let's say, lift kits. I didn't replace springs or struts or anything like that, but it does have spacers front and rear for the existing strut packs. Of course, it has extended sway bar links and all the other things to make the lift compatible. I've noticed no decline in drivability or handling or anything like that. It also has an ADS CVT transmission isolator, which basically helped with some low-level vibrations that any lifted Subaru is going to get. That's, of course, already installed. So the lift was really the first thing that I did to this. After I lifted it, of course, you need wheels and tires afterwards. So I found a set of new takeoff wheels from a 2018 WRX. So keeping it OEM, that's what you see on there now. So stock 17-inch WRX wheels. They are bolted to a 20mm spacer, so I could fit the wider tires. And then the tires have less than 1,500 miles on them, just replaced. They are a 245, 65, 17 extra load Fusion all-terrain, which is an identical tire to a Kumo AT51, just under a different brand. I've been happy with them so far. Aggressive tread, but not unhighwayable in any way, shape, or form. And from a mileage per gallon perspective, I've noticed approximately a 1 to 1.5 mile per gallon loss after the lift, after the tires. The 3.6R is not known for gas mileage. It's known for reliability and power. So that wasn't a huge concern of my own. Next, we'll move around to the back. So you'll notice this could be one of the only Outbacks you've ever seen with quad exiting exhausts. So it's tough to see with the sunlight, I apologize, but look at the pictures for more details. These are also a takeoff from a 2018 WRX. WRXs all had quad exhausts, even though they were all 4 cylinders. The 3.6R uniquely got dual exit exhaust versus the 2.5i's. So all we did was take the new mufflers, basically cut the tips off because you need to have a down sweep for Outbacks to clear the bumper, and put them on. So brand new mufflers. I forget exactly when I installed those, 3-4 years ago. And the stock mufflers are, of course, included as well. Didn't really change the sound a whole heck of a lot. It is a little bit throatier, certainly. You can definitely notice that I changed the exhaust, but by no means is this a loud vehicle. You can leave your house at 4:30 a.m. from an apartment building and no one's going to hear it. Hitch is different. So this came with a Class 2 hitch with the 1 1/4 inch receiver. I don't know what you could even tow with that. So I swapped that out to a Curt Class 3. Of course, I kept the factory wiring, so it is a 4-pin wire set on this. Special hitch, it does use a locking / tension locking receiver as well. So if you do, put on a bike rack or you put on one of those little storage shelves, it won't rattle whatsoever because you can actually torque down the receiver pin itself, which is nice. Move around to the other side, just give you a look at the passenger side here. That's a lot of sun, I apologize. That roof rack that you see, that is factory. That came only on the touring editions of this version Outback. That is a Thule, I think it's an Aero Glide or an Aero Flow. I do have matching keys for all of the cylinders, so it's a single key to take it on and off if you so choose. And then lastly, just while we're here, vent visors on all of the windows, of course. Those are WeatherTech branded visors. Moving around front, no real changes here other than LED fog light upgrades. It does have 3000K, which are amber or yellow fog lights on the bottom. I didn't change anything, of course, in the headlight structure because this actually has auto leveling, auto steering headlights in the Touring Edition. They're already LEDs, they're already really bright, automatic headlights, or high beams rather, etc., etc. You'll notice the emblems are all different, so you can see the emblem on the front here. There's a company that makes Subaru emblems. I bought a pack of them, so you'll notice they're all matching emblems. That would be the grille, all 4 wheels, as well as the steering wheel, which we will see in a second. This, of course, has Subaru EyeSight because it is a Touring, so you can see the 2 little cameras up top there. Coming down from that is a Uniden R3 radar detector, and then to the right of the radar detector is a VFO A229 Pro dash cam, and that runs front and rear. My intention was to remove those to install in whatever vehicle I buy. However, I'll have a different price listed if you want the radar detector, the dash camera. There's a phone mount holder in there as well. There's a throttle commander in this, which I'll show you in a second also. All of those will be available, slightly additional fee, about half the cost of original acquisition cost. All right, let's get into the interior. I'm going to take this off of the tripod. Bear with me. Holy hell. All right, cool. Got it. Okay. So, this is the Java interior, which honestly is kind of what made me buy this car. So the interior color on this Wilderness Green, I think it's a pretty awesome color combination. Subarus weren't on my list. When I saw this locally at a Volkswagen dealership of all places, and I opened the door, I'm like, yep, I really like it. And then drivability was pretty amazing as well. Of course, I changed all that to locking lug nuts, so there's your replacement key sticker should you need it. Of course, the key's included. I haven't lost that yet. This is a fully optioned Touring. So what I mean by that is you will not see any blank switches, meaning no feature was skipped on this whatsoever. So you have every available option for a 2018 Touring. If you want to go look at the brochure and see the full list of features, I encourage you to do so. Storage cubby instead of the fuse box, just blank holder. I threw that in. This does have memory seats, of course. Every window is power. Every window is auto. You do have 2 sets of keys, 2 fobs on this because this does have OEM Subaru remote start. So this does all of your normal stuff, the primary remote. This does your remote start. You can also remote start just from this one remote by hitting lock 3 times. So if you hit lock 3 times on this or that, it'll still remote start if you don't want to carry 2 fobs. This just gives you way more distance than this one does. Phone mount, no good place to stick a phone in an Outback, so that's been my solution for the last 6 years. That'll be included to any potential buyer. Mag, safe, of course, wireless charging, etc., etc. All right, hop in here. Before I do that, WeatherTech floor mats. Those have been in there since day one. I do have the original Touring floor mats. They have never been taken out of their bag. So if you want carpeted floor mats, they're included, and they are brand new. Rear seat, immaculate. I take really good care of cars. Hopefully that comes through with this. Just got it cleaned up, so just ready for glamour shots, etc. Again, Touring model. You have reclining rear seats, so you pull that and you just push, and the seat will recline a fair bit. Easy for kids to take a nap or whatever. Of course, you have the center couple with, center armrest with cup holders that just slides right up. Triple headrests, triple seat belts. In the back, we have heated seats in the rear as well. And then we also have USB power. This one's a little bit too old for USB-C, but you do get two USB-As. Heated seats do have dual levels, so high and low. Move over to the trunk. Power trunk, of course, power liftgate. That can also be operated via the remote or via a dash button. Standard stuff here. Everything is, again, weatherproofed, so that's the OEM Outback rubber mat. Carpet under it, I don't think has ever even really seen daylight, so that's in really good shape. I just threw that in a second ago, this little cargo cover guy. I've never personally used it or had it installed before. I don't actually think I've put it in right, but anyway, it's included if you need it. Subarus are kind of cool. You have, a little outlet here, so I use that to charge an air compressor / portable jump starter if I ever need it. Subwoofer back here, because this is a touring. You do have, I think it's a 14 speaker system in here from Harman Kardon. It actually sounds really good. Decent amount of bass and stuff like that. So it's very, very easy to listen to that. And then onto the stereo really quick. So Subarus in this generation, so think, 17 to 19 or so, they had issues with the screens, the factory screens delaminating. So this entire skin, if you will, on a factory screen sometimes kind of got bubbles under it, which made it not work. So what a lot of us did when we were outside of warranty, and I was 8 miles out of warranty for this, is we just bought high-end Android Auto made for a Subaru stereos, which is what you're looking at here. This is from a company called Joying. This is the highest end model they offered at the time. So this is Android radio, or an Android operating system based stereo. It has wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. This was the 6 gig of RAM version, quad core processor with 128 gigs of ROM or memory for installing applications. We'll go ahead and start it up. I'll show you what all this stuff looks like. So there's your mileage, 143,112. That'll go up a couple hundred miles here and there, depending on when you look at it. This is my daily driver, but I'll probably switch over to my Jeep for the time being. Here comes the radio, so you can see Android Wireless Auto is starting up. Sorry, we got a song. So that's the Android Auto side. Again, wireless for Apple or for Android. But then you have an entire operating system as well. So Android is the OS of this stereo. So you can do a monumental amount of stuff here. You've got Google Play, you've got wireless, I can do torque. There's an OBD2 scanner already installed in this car. I'll include that. So if you're into torque and even know what torque is, you can do performance monitoring of the car, etc. Kind of fun to geek out on a little bit. You do have fully automatic dual zone climate control. Of course, heated seats in this version. You also get a heated steering wheel in this version because, again, it's the touring. And that's pretty awesome in the winter, not going to lie. This car also includes a full set of winter wheels and winter tires. They are a 7-spoke black wheel, 18-inch, with, 3/4 tread left on the winter tires themselves. There will be pictures included. As a result of that, I run an external TPMS system, so I don't need to worry about reprogramming TPMS twice a year when I change tires out. That's what it looks like. Plugs into the 12-volt cigarette lighter plug, and then you have little sensors on each one of the tires. And it looks like front left needs some air. Here is rear view mirror and me, I guess. You do have home link on the bottom for your garage doors. This will operate 3 different bays. Of course, this is auto dimming. That's the unit in R3. That will be available as I'll call it an extra with, I'll call it my custom tech package. I don't know. So there's the unit in R3. There's the VFO A229 Pro dash cam. In the back, you might be able to see the camera in the rear windshield there. Yep, you can see it. So you do have full view of this car. This is hardwired with a battery monitor, so this always is running in parking mode, and it will never be able to drain the battery whatsoever. Over here, we have a throttle commander. So these 3.6Rs have a good amount of power to them, but the throttle response itself was always a little bit feeble. So what this does is it goes in line with your throttle pedal sensor, and you just can customize it. So I think this thing has 90 different settings that you can apply to it. I have it on C, which is comfort, 0.7, which is for throttle response, and that's a 1 to a 9. And then A is this car's an automatic. That helped immensely just with, how much fun this thing was to drive. What else can we do up front here? Big center console in these things. There is a shelf, a tray, that'll of course be included. I just took it out to get it detailed. You also have X mode here, and you do have hill descent control. Let's see, what else can we talk about? This little button guy right here is a Bluetooth interface back into the dash cam. So if you ever have something that was interesting to you, or you saw an accident that you weren't yourself in, you push this button and it'll just save that particular event into that. This does allow wireless downloads, so you don't need to plug anything in, and it's really fast to download directly from the dash cam into your phone. All right, enough dash cam shit. Everything on the interior has been converted to LEDs. So once again, the regular halogen bulbs that are installed in most vehicles are pretty dim. So I did halogens in absolutely everything, or excuse me, LEDs in everything. Sunroof up here. Of course, you fully block it out if you need to. I don't think I'll be able to show it in the current lighting situation, but the doors do also have the downward lights just to help you get in and out of the car at night. I converted those over to LED Subaru logos, so when you open the door, kind of like a brand new Lexus or something like that, it says Subaru. Kind of cool. What else have we done? There's another one of those custom badges. These are all just stickers, guys and gals, so if you want to have a standard Subaru logo, just peel them off. Pretty simple. Glove box has a lot of crap in it, but these things have very large glove boxes, so you can fit, apparently, a lot of crap in it. What else can we get into? Fully folding rear seat. You have a ton of cargo room in here. You can load a lot of stuff into this. We certainly have. A lot of kayaks can go on top. I fit 3 on the top of this, believe that or not. Auto adjusting seat belts, of course. Subarus are kind of cool. You can actually change this. So if you have a particular way that you like your head to sit, it's a 4-way adjustable headrest. Power seats up here. Power seats, of course, in the drivers. Memory seats I mentioned already. This is an 8-way power seat, I believe, with a 2-mode lumbar support in it as well. Automatic, like every single Subaru is. The 3.6Rs, for any of those that are thinking Subaru CVTs are still garbage, that is no longer the case after they got through that initial kind of growing pain, let's say. These CVTs have been pretty rock solid. And the 3.6R actually has a different CVT than your normal 2.5i's. The 2.5i's run a TR580, which is still a good CVT, but it's meant to handle 200 or less horsepower. This has what's called a TR690 CVT, and it's made to handle the 260, 270-ish horsepower that these 3.6s have. They are still an Achilles heel, not going to lie. The most important thing to do for CVTs and Subarus is change the fluid. So this has had the fluid changed every single 60,000 miles. I do the CVT fluid with OEM Subaru fluid. I do the rear differential. Oil changes have been religiously done, only synthetic, only using high-end filters. And I do the vast majority of that myself because I have my own baked-in quality control. So this has never seen a Jiffy Lube or a Valvoline or any of those other places that just simply forget to, tighten in your oil pan drain plug, which never goes well. Rust-wise, the only inkling of any corrosion I have seen on this car are on the driver's side, driver's door, excuse me. So right here, I don't even know if you can see it. So just a little itty bitty bit, and I've already coated that with PB Blast Shield or whatever they call it, Rust Prevent from PB Blast. And then on the bottom of this door lip, I was seeing an eensy-weensy bit of it as well, but again, I've coated that off, so I don't even know where the heck it was. Anyway, there's no rust on this car to speak of. The underbody is in extremely good condition. Exhaust is in extremely good condition. There is literally, and I hesitate saying this sometimes because usually when you hear it, it's bullshit. There is not one single thing that you need to do with this car. Just drive it. And I truly mean that, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when you look at the maintenance records for this. The other big thing I did, just from a drivability perspective, was swap the brakes over. So this now runs PowerStop Z23 drilled and slotted rotors. You can see right there. And then I just replaced, I think literally last weekend or the weekend before, I can't recall, the brake pads themselves, front and rear. So again, PowerStop Z23, in this example, Kevlar brake pads. This thing stops on a dime, zero shakes whatsoever, and doesn't experience any levels of brake fade when you're, aggressively braking or emergency panic stopping or any stuff like that, it's going to stop. What else can we get into? Adaptive cruise control, all those types of things works flawlessly in these. I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of miles I've put on this using adaptive cruise control going to, Jersey, Canada, Pennsylvania, who the hell knows. I did install the tow hooks front and rear. I just want to make it clear, I wasn't off-roading this thing. That was more of a visual thing than anything else, to be totally honest. And then in the rear, there's another tow hooky thing on there as well. I'll take both of those off and replace the little cap on the bumper that covers up that hole. Unless you tell me not to. Unless you want the tow hooks, we can talk about the tow hooks. Even the wipers are new. I replaced all the wipers a couple weeks ago also. So you have, like I said, legitimately nothing to do to service this car, or drive this car. There's really nothing. Register it, drive it, done. You can see those little TPMS external sensors. No, they do not impact the balance of the tire in any way, shape, or form. That comes up quite a lot, but they don't. You can see the tires themselves. Fairly aggressive, brand new. Like I said, about 1,500 miles or so on these. I've put all of those 1,500 miles, save maybe 100 or 200, have been highway. They're not loud. They're not squishy. It still handles pretty darn good. I just like a slightly more aggressive tire, even still running a dedicated winter tire. I just like them. Trying to see what else we can really get into here. I wonder if we can get the headlights to actually show up now that the light is fading just a little bit. There you go. So you can see the 3000K fog lights that I mentioned. Those are pretty easy to change back to either a regular, white colored LED, or God forbid you put the halogens back in there, they were useless. But I kind of dig the way it looks, a little more Subaru-ish, I suppose, in my brain. Not much else to speak of. So I really encourage you to watch this video. I think it's going to answer the vast majority of questions that anyone might have on this vehicle. Again, Richmond, New Hampshire, 10 minutes outside of Keene. I listed the airports earlier. I won't bore you with that again. The price will, of course, be posted online. I am looking for a quick sale, so if you're ready to go, you've been looking for a rig like this, and you want one that you don't need to fiddle around with to get on the road, this could absolutely be your guy or gal. There is a small lien on this, so you have to be willing as well to wait a week or two for the title to come back to you. So if you do plan on looking at this / purchasing this, bring your own plate, drive it home, get a template, whatever your state allows. I don't really know, but just know the title does not come with this vehicle day one. If that's a serious hang-up for you, there is nothing I'm going to do about it. So just please bear that in mind. I know for some people that can be a bit of a hindrance. I don't want to make it one. New Hampshire turns those around pretty darn quick, and we can do any transactions you want in a secure way at a bank, etc., etc., to give as many warm and fuzzies as you need doing a private sale. That's, not a little bit of money. So that's it. I encourage you to ask questions or ask for specific pictures or anything else. I'd be more than happy to share that with you. And I think to wrap this up, I will just bring you guys for a drive real quick. So let's do that. All right, quick little ride. I'll kind of punch it as I'm leaving the driveway here, just in case this audio will pick up, the sound of the engine and stuff like that. There's no stumbles, there's no ticks, there's no abnormalities of any kind, and there's weirdos in the road, so we're going to hold off on the gunning it part. We'll do that on the way back. Mass. All right, gunning it. You probably couldn't hear much of that, but it gets up and goes. This is by no means a slug or anything like that, so if you are more inclined to be a spirited driver, as I am, this should still scratch that itch, hopefully. Hands off the wheel here. We'll give you an idea. No shakes. The alignment's perfect. I haven't had any issues there. Every time I get tires or just feel any little bit of a tug, I just go get an alignment. So I'm a huge maniacal fan of preventative maintenance, and hopefully that's a reflection. Turn it around, you won't be able to hear any clicks or anything like that. All the CV axles are in great shape, so let's do that here. And we'll go. There you go. That was a full 0 to 60 just about. You also, for some extremely peculiar reasons in Subarus, have flappy paddle shifters. Because every CVT that doesn't have gears needs flappy paddles to select your virtual gears. I've used them once or twice. They're nifty. Maybe you find them nifty as well, but I figured I would mention them in case you saw behind the steering wheel and went, what the hell is that? That's what it is. Trying to think of anything else really of note here, but I don't think there is much. Like I said, this thing's immaculate. It truly is. So again, I'll wrap this up. 25 minutes is a long damn time. So questions, comments, wisecracks, whatever you got, throw it at me. Motivated seller. Let me know what you're thinking. Thanks. Bye-bye.